Hey guys, welcome to the third lecture of the chapter Introduction to Micro and Macroeconomics. Let us study the features of microeconomics today. Now, as all of us know, micro means small, on the smaller level. So first, the very first feature is study of individual units. Microeconomics is the study of the behavior of small individual economic units like say individual firm, individual price, that means price of a particular product, or let us say the study of individual household, etc. That means whenever the study is on individual basis, on the smaller basis, it is the part of microeconomics. Second feature, price theory. Microeconomics deals with the determination or say fixation of the prices of goods and services, as well as determining the prices to be paid to the factors of production. So all these factor rewards are determined by the microeconomics, and hence microeconomics is also known as the price theory. It is concerned with it is related to the price theory as it helps in the determination of the prices. Third feature is partial equilibrium. See, partial means certain part, certain portion. That is the meaning of partial, not the entire, but the partial. What is equilibrium? Equilibrium is the balance between any two factors. That is called equilibrium. Equilibrium means studying about the balance. So microeconomic analysis deals with the partial equilibrium, which analyzes equilibrium position of an individual economic unit. That means a particular single individual economic unit is there, then that is studied by the microeconomics. For example, microeconomics studies about individual demand for a product, individual supply of a product by a particular seller, and thereby it also determines the price. Equilibrium price is also determined. So individual demand and individual supply is studied. That's why it is partial equilibrium. It isolates the individual units from other forces. That means from the entire lot, individual unit is taken aside and studied by the microeconomics. And it also determines the equilibrium, but independently, separately, not as a whole, but about a individual unit, separate in equilibrium determination. So that's why it is partial equilibrium. Then fourth point is based on certain assumptions. See, in case of microeconomics, always there are certain fundamental assumptions which are stated in the at the start of the sentence with a particular phrase, other things remaining constant. That means whatever conditions we want to lay down, whatever conditions an economist want to lay down before stating a particular law or theory, those conditions are stated with a certain phrase that is called ceteris paribus assumptions, other things remaining constant. So with the help of this, there is explanation of perfect competition condition, then laissez-faire policy. See here, you might be confused with this word laissez-faire. Laissez-faire policy means no government interference. The government will not interfere in the working of a particular setup. That is called laissez-faire policy, non-government intervention in simple language. So all these assumptions simplify the analysis. So while studying anything, if we put forward certain assumptions, then that study becomes easy and simplified. So that is done under microeconomics. Then fifth feature is slicing method. I hope you understand this word slice. Slice means, let us say full cake is there, then we take out slice from the cake. Full bread is there, then we take out slice of a bread. That is what is slice. Taking out slice means taking out a individual unit. That's the meaning here. So microeconomics uses slicing method. What it does, the microeconomics splits or divides the whole economy into small individual units, and this taking aside individual unit, it is compared as slicing the unit. That's why it is called slicing method. And then these individual units are studied separately in detail. For example, we study about individual income out of the national income. So under microeconomics, we do not study the national income. We don't study the income of the nation, but we study the income of an individual, which is a part and parcel of nation. That's why it is called slicing method. As good as taking aside slice and studying about it. So slicing method. Next, point number six, sixth feature is use of marginalism principle. Again, this is very simple. See, try to get it simply. The word marginal means additional. Additional or the change brought in the total. That is the meaning of the word marginal. The concept of marginalism is the key tool of microeconomic analysis. The term marginal means the change brought in total by an additional unit. So what happens is this marginal analysis helps the producers as well as consumers to take the economic decisions. Let us take very basic simple example. Forget economics, let us take very simple example. Now whenever say consumer, a consumer is buying anything or consuming anything, then he will come to know or he will make the decision of that buying or consuming on the basis of whenever he goes on adding the units. Suppose I bought 5 pen, if I buy the sixth pen, if I buy the seventh pen also, then I will think about it whether this additional buying is worth it or do I really need this commodity in this much quantity. So likewise with the additional unit, when I think about that marginal unit, when I focus on the marginal, I can better make my decision. My decision will be much better when I think and analyze about my marginal consumption. Same thing when I eat anything. If I go on eating and eating, if I go on consuming a particular product, then I may think about whether this additional is really required or not. So on the basis of the concept of marginal, it becomes easy to make the decision. It applies to both consumers as well as producers. Producers also think that whether this additional production is required or not, whether this additional production is fruitful for me, whether it is benefiting me or it is putting me to loss. Likewise, the decisions can be made on the basis of this concept of marginalism. I hope you are getting. Next point, point number 7, and the last feature is limited scope. Though the microeconomics is very useful, but still its scope is limited only to the individual unit. And it is bound to happen because ultimately microeconomics means studying of individual units. It doesn't deal with the nationwide problems such as inflation, poverty, unemployment, population, economic growth, economic development, etc. And that's why microeconomics is very useful, but it is useful in a limited area because its scope is limited. So those were the features of microeconomics. I'm revising in short. Please pay attention. Features of microeconomics. First one, study of individual units. Second, price theory. Third, partial equilibrium. Fourth, based on certain assumptions. Fifth, slicing method. Sixth, use of marginalism principle. And seventh one, limited scope. So that's it for today. I hope it helps. Make sure to like, share and please subscribe to my channel.